Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 109 of Ask Vidas and Ausra podcast. And today's question was sent by Barbara. And she writes, Dear Vidas and Ausra, you are very welcome. Your emails have already answered many questions. Some I didn't even know I had. Everything from why some of your fingerings are so different to how to hear inner voices to how to deal with injuries. Thank you. And thank you very much for the Boellmann toccata. I actually learned it many years ago when I was still taking organ lessons. I started lessons 18 years ago at age 48. I played it for a Halloween postlude one year at my church, and they brought the Sunday school in to listen, so I really pulled out all the stops at the end. But I'm very glad to have your fingering. I've been on retirement vacation for many months because of numbness in my hands, so I've been trying new fingerings as I ease back into things. Long story, but I think I've been using too much piano technique on the organ all these years and it's taken its toll, especially as my muscles and joints age. Thinking of a question for you is a little like having to choose one wish for a fairy godmother. But here it goes. One of my current struggles is being a better listener at concerts and recitals where the music is unfamiliar. I've learned a lot about baroque, classical, romantic music, but I don't know how to fully appreciate early music, especially music written before tempering. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach this? Recommendations for good listening collections of music using specific modes of styles? Uh, all this will also help me to better appreciate organ improvisations and modern music. Many thanks again for all you do. Best wishes to you both, Barbara. What do you think, Osha?
Very nice letter and very interesting question, actually. Well, in order to be able better to understand early music, we would probably need to listen to some recordings of this music performed on original instruments, on historical instruments, because this makes all the difference in the world. On the modern music, performed early music doesn't sound well enough, or not as well as it should sound on the original instruments. What do you think about that, Vidas?
With a few exceptions. If music is uh, more familiar to the modern ears, let's say the style is more familiar, the one of Johann Sebastian Bach's, then it sounds well on almost any type of instrument, right?
Yes, that's true, but I'm talking about even earlier music.
Hmm.
Like all those, Robert's Bridge Codex and that kind of music.
Yes, we have to understand here that people who wrote similar pieces 700 years ago were living in a times that mentality was closer to pagans at the uh, ages before Christ than to our modern days, because they were um, basically completely, as they say, world conscious. They believed in higher powers, and today's people still do believe, but they also believe in technology and science. So it was very different world, and the function of music was very different back then. It wasn't for entertainment like it is mostly today.
Yes, but still, I often think about people in those times. Imagine you live in sort of like a village somewhere, work hard, to make a living for you possible, and you go to church on Sunday, and it's a nice building with golden everywhere and nice windows, stained glass windows and beautiful altar and organ, and it plays the music. And otherwise it was probably the only chance for people to hear some music, and it should sound for them just as a miracle. I believe so.
And in general, to experience art, the church was probably the only one of the very, very few opportunities in those days.
And in churches you don't have like places to sit, no benches, so you would just have to stand up or kneel
For a long time,
for a long time. Yes,
because
because
services were very long, 3 hours.
that's right. And I'm just thinking this organ music must sound it for them as something from the heaven.
Definitely, especially if the organ is high in the balcony, people are facing the altar at all times. They don't see the music coming from the balcony. They only hear this roar of this magnificent instrument, and they think it's a voice of angel sometimes, or
Yes.
even God.
Yes, that's right. So I would suggest some recordings, actually, some historical recordings to listen to. And in general, the more you listen to particular piece, the better you get acquainted with it, the better you can appreciate it.
Do you think that listening is enough, or should people play it?
Well, it would be excellent if we could play it too. Then you could know the piece from inside out.
Play it and think about it, right? Like uh, deeply think about what's happening in this music, not on the emotional level that you would think I like it or I don't like it, but think about what is actually happening in musical terms.
Yes, that's right. And on modern instruments, you don't have such a big difference between consonances and dissonances. But if listen to that music on the historical, played on the historical instruments, so listen to the recordings, you can actually very well define consonances and dissonances, and it's such a difference between them that it just astonishes you.
For most people, they don't have everyday experience with historical temperaments, right?
Yes, that's right.
What sometimes they have recordings, but they practice on modern day instruments, like maybe practice organs, maybe electronic organs. They could have some samples from historical temperaments on virtual organs, I believe.
Yes.
It's getting close then. Um, the experiments, of course, the touch is not there at all. It's not the same as playing clavichord or historical Italian organ or French or German or Spanish or Dutch organ. They are all very, very different, right? So what people could do, they sometimes could try to go on tours.
Yes, that's a good idea.
If they could save enough money once in a while, and go with organist group, or not even organists, some people just are lovers of organ music there, and it's like organ tourism, I think, in Europe.
That's right. So before going to concert, if you could get a program in advance, that would be a great deal. You could listen to those pieces before going to actual recital, maybe play them, sight read them through.
Exactly. Do some research about the composers and about the music. A lot of early music is online, available for
Yes.
free on Petrucci Music Library, which is available at imslp.org. So you can do lots of findings there, and they have even manuscripts, facsimiles of
Yes.
old orthographs. So enjoy deciphering old tablatures and notations that are unfamiliar to modern eyes. What else? Can we point out a few of the uh, excellent performers, of course, who recorded some fantastic early music?
Definitely.
What's your favorite?
Harald Vogel, probably.
There are many, but
Yes,
some
yes.
some organists and performers you should not miss. Harald Vogel is one,
In the States, it would be Kimberly Marshall.
definitely. Then Bill Porter.
Sure.
What about Peter Dirksen?
He is wonderful too.
What about Peter van Dyke?
I love him.
What about Pamela Reuter Finstra?
Yeah, she's excellent, especially in Tunder's work.
Um, what else? We could go on for hours,
Yes,
and it's very risky because while mentioning some of our
yes. We
favorites, we
don't
will
want to offend the
neglect
others. Well,
others.
yes.
So, guys, what you should do is check out a few organ academies in Europe. In Gothenburg, International Organ Academy. Then there is Smarano Organ Academy in Italy, and there is in the Netherlands Alkmaar Organ Festival, I think they call it. So check out all those teachers and organists who are presenting them and are teaching in master classes. Everyone there is worthy of your attention and will expand your musical horizons.
That's right.
Ton Kopman, of course.
Sure.
Uh,
So there are so many.
uh, Gustav Leonhardt, um, and and we could go on, but of course you can do you can find your own favorites yourself.
Yes.
Okay, guys, we hope this was helpful to you. Please send us more of your questions. We love helping you grow, and most importantly, apply our tips in your practice because when you practice,
Miracles happen.